My best friend secretly betrayed me, and my family covered for her. I discovered the truth and left with no explanation. Years later, they came crawling back and begging for forgiveness. The truth that my family had been hiding from me was that my boyfriend, Kyle, was the father of Ashley's child. I was shocked when I heard my sister and mom talk about it and stumbled into the kitchen demanding an explanation. Both my mom and my sister became white as a sheet when they saw me, and my sister started crying her eyes out. My sister explained to me that during the end of summer break, Kyle and Ashley attended the same house party, got drunk, and slept together. Ashley got pregnant and told Kyle, but they were both ashamed and afraid of telling me. They also didn't share this with their respective parents. Ashley, however, couldn't keep the secret and told her mom and dad, who told Kyle's parents and later to my parents as well. This all happened when Ashley was in her first trimester. By her second trimester, all of my siblings, Kyle's and Ashley's siblings, knew about this, everyone except for me. I simply cannot explain the way I felt. I was physically ill for the next 3 days, and I couldn't speak to anyone. My parents were apologetic, but explained that they didn't want to see me hurt or ruin everyone's relationship. I did not speak with Kyle or Ashley, although they bombarded my phone with messages and calls and also came to my house. I refused to see them. At one point, Kyle's mom came to our house, and my mom allowed her into my room while I was lying in my bed, still ill and just emotionally drained from the betrayal. She tried to convince me to forgive them and how Ashley and the baby need me. I said nothing. 2 weeks later, Ashley went into labor. I learned from my parents that she had a hard delivery, she lost a lot of blood, and needed an emergency C-section. Kyle apparently was at the birth. I was distraught, inconsolable because of the betrayal by both because I planned to be there, and now physically and emotionally I couldn't because I was looking forward to this moment for months. So many reasons. My older sister immediately went to the hospital to be with her boyfriend. My other siblings weren't at home, so I was left alone with my parents. All I wanted was to lay in my bed or cuddle in my bed with my mom and cry all my feelings out. My mom received a call from Ashley's mom. She came to my room and told me that she and dad were going to the hospital. I was perplexed and asked her to stay with me. She said that Ashley's parents need all the support they can get and that we will discuss everything later. I tried to tell her not to go and that I also need their support. But she said not to be selfish, and they left. I was left alone at the house, and I just couldn't comprehend what happened in the last few weeks. I couldn't believe that my parents would go and support someone who hurt me so much while I was also here suffering. Am I really selfish to think like that? I don't know when, but my sadness turned into rage, the kind I never experienced before. In a fit of combined emotions and feelings of betrayal, I started packing my bags and decided to leave home. It didn't take a while, but I started having second thoughts and just sat in the living room feeling empty. After a while, I received a text from my sister. The text said that Ashley gave birth to a healthy girl and that they were both okay. She attached a pic of the newborn and told me they named her Sarah, the name Ashley and I chose some months ago. She sent a second text a while later, telling me that my parents and she were going to join Ashley's and Kyle's parents in going to a bar in the town to celebrate. I don't remember much after that. I think I was just consumed by everything, and my memory is very foggy. I left. I took a train and left. I stayed at a hostel in Phoenix for a while. I got a job at a store and planned to finish high school there. My parents, siblings, Kyle, and Ashley tried to contact me. My mom was sending me a panicked voicemail demanding me to come back. They also reported me as a missing person, but I don't think it went anywhere. As I was 18, soon afterward, I met Dean. He also lived in Phoenix and had a complicated relationship with his family. We really connected and became friends. Soon, he helped me a lot at that time. I struggled. I had no idea how to take care of myself or how to literally be an adult. He introduced me to his group of friends, helped me finish high school. I moved in with him and his friends. He helped me deal with my pain. He was there for me and supported me through everything, and I don't think I would have lasted long without him. We began dating after a year. He decided to move across the country to the big city. Although we weren't together for long, he asked me to go with him. I was a bit reluctant because we both had a lot of emotional baggage, and I was still very insecure in my situation, but I did go. We moved, got jobs, and tried to survive. Soon after my 21st birthday, we decided to get married. It was a crazy spontaneous decision, but we did it. I enrolled in university, and Dean helped me pay for it. He himself opened a company that took off, and we were able to live more comfortably. I was in uni and also worked a part-time job to contribute. We had our ups and downs but somehow survived. After uni, I started working in his company, and we slowly built it up. When I look back now, I don't think I was in love with Dean when we got married. I loved him, but I wasn't in love. But he was there for me always unconditionally, and today I don't think I could love him more. He is the love of my life. We've been married for 12 years now, and we have a 2-year-old son and a 6-month-old son. Sometimes I regretted leaving my family behind, but I just couldn't go back. It was very painful. I felt like my parents chose Ashley and Kyle over me. I did go to a therapist when I was 25 and tried to deal with my emotions. Last year, at the beginning of the pandemic, I received an email from a 14-year-old girl named Evelyn. She explained that she was my niece, my older sister's and Kyle's brother's kid. She knew about me and wanted to meet me. Although I was reluctant to speak to her, we did exchange some emails. Let me note that she did not know what transpired 15 years ago, so the conversations were pretty innocent. We talked about her school interests, and she talked about my family. I learned I had 10 nieces and nephews. I also learned that Kyle married Ashley 4 years after I left and had 2 sons besides Sarah. My parents continued to have a friendship with Kyle's and Ashley's family, and to me, it really felt like my family continued their normal life despite me being gone. She tried to talk to me about what happened, but I didn't really think it was my place to explain things to her. So I simply said that relationships change, and things happen in life that make us go our separate ways. We continued talking every so often for almost a year. In her email this January, she expressed how the pandemic had a big effect on her entire family and how my parents were struggling to keep their house, and both my brothers lost their jobs and struggled to keep up with the cost. I was surprised at her knowledge of this, as she was only 14, but the hardship was also causing tensions between her parents. I started to deal with a lot of guilty feelings and regrets. I also just had my baby, so that was causing me lots of emotions. I talked to my husband, and he was very supportive and told me that he would be there for me for whatever I decide. We are financially stable, and the pandemic didn't have a great impact on our finances. We are not rich, but are able to live comfortably. After learning some more details and talking with Dean, we decided to help my parents with their house. A week ago, we flew back to my home state. I saw my family for the first time in 15 years. I had so many emotions, regrets, pains from the past, feelings of betrayal. My parents were, I think, relieved to see me. It was just such a weird day. We had a lengthy conversation and agreed to try and have some sort of cordial relationship. It's been so long, and I am very awkward with them. Sometimes they feel like strangers. Dean and I spent a week there, and we continue to have a conversation, and I truly believed that we were on a path to having a friendly yet distant relationship. But my mom started insisting I have a sit-down conversation with Kyle and Ashley. She explained that she wants to go back to the way things were. I told her I refused to talk to them. Although I moved on, I simply have no ties with them now and don't want to rehash anything with them. I told her I am prepared to try and establish a relationship with them as they are my family, and I truly came to care for my niece, but that I don't want anything to do with Kyle, Ashley, or their family. I never demanded that they cease their relationship with their friend, but I don't want one. Dean supports me. My mom called me selfish and said that I simply must try and heal our relationship. I told her I will not negotiate, and that it's on her to decide whether or not she wants to have a relationship with me. She said okay, but 2 days later, I received a phone call from Kyle's mom. I did not give her my number, and she demanded I talk with Kyle and Ashley, as my return caused tensions in their relationship and their emotional health. I hung up. I called my mom and confronted her. Apparently, she gave that woman my number to heal our family bonds. I told her that she is choosing them over me again. She cried and yelled at me that I am selfish and that she just wants her family back. I hung up. It's been days since I spoke to any of them, although my mom and Kyle's mom keep on calling. Although I think I am right, and I believe I should prioritize my well-being and the well-being and happiness of my husband, who has been behind me 100%. And even told my mom off and my sons. I am starting to have some regrets. I don't know if I should listen to my mom and speak to Ashley and Kyle. I question whether I was overreacting 15 years ago. I am questioning whether I am truly being selfish for not actively trying to repair the relationship. Update. I recently learned a lot about my little sister. Her relationship with my parents went downhill after I left home, and she went no contact with them when she was 20. I received her number from our older sister, and although it was awkward at first, it's been 15 years after all. We did start speaking again. She was very angry at me for leaving. A lot has happened in her life, and it wasn't the easiest. She has a toddler and a baby of her own, and I have to say that the kids have helped us bond again. She's my best friend, and we talk every day. As for my other siblings, I'm in regular contact with both my brothers, although we aren't close. My older sister and I have a good relationship now, but last year, we had a longer period of not speaking, as she is married to Kyle's brother. It was hard for her to deal with all our and their family drama. We are cool now, and I have a lovely relationship with my nieces and nephews. I didn't go to my niece's birthday party. It just seemed like it would be too hard for me. Now to my parents. My mom didn't let up with pestering me over not talking with Kyle and Ashley. Her calls for that continued for months, even after I was home again. It bordered on emotional blackmail. She blamed me for not honoring her wishes for her friendship problems and health problems, and even accused me of keeping her grandbabies from her. Last June, I had my daughter, and it seems like that sent her completely over the rail. What I mean by that, 100 calls a day, messages every 20 minutes to pester me about random things, sending me updates about people I never want to know about. When she started pestering Dean, I was done. I was afraid to block her, so I spoke to my father. This was probably the first time in the last 17 years that we had a true heart-to-heart conversation. I was emotionally drained, tired from caring for 3 children, and just over everything. I've probably poured all my feelings and emotions onto him. I don't know what happened to them afterward. He doesn't speak much about it. Her calls slowly ceased, and something else must have happened because in August, he filed for a divorce. My father and I are in regular contact, although I don't think we'll ever be back to normal. Mom is devastated. In August, her calls became insane, and apparently not just with me. I've changed my number since then, and as of last month, she has not been able to reach me. I've been told by one of my brothers that she has problems with anxiety and depression and lost a lot of friends. I don't really know whether or not she continues to have a relationship with Kyle and Ashley's family. I don't want to have anything to do with her anymore, nor do I want her near my kids. The things she said to me and about my husband, whom she really doesn't know, and after 15 years of no contact, is crazy. Although I regret not having a mom, I feel like trying and fighting to repair the little remnants of our relationship would be a waste of my emotional energy and just pure torture. As for Kyle and Ashley, I've received some calls from Kyle's mom. I blocked her, and no other calls have been received from anyone. I really don't know what they are doing or where they are. I've had no contact with them. The only thing that really happened is that in August, when things went downhill, my brother-in-law, Kyle's brother, brought me a letter, apparently written by Ashley. I've not opened it, and I really don't know if I want to. I feel like I've moved on from them, but on the other hand, I'm curious as to what she has to say after so many years. Update 2. During the last few months, a lot has happened. I have not read the letter yet. Soon after updating, I started therapy again, and Dean and I decided that it would be best if I gave the letter to my therapist and let him decide when and if I am ever ready to read it. I have not spoken to my mom either. I've received messages on Facebook from her and Ashley's mom. The latter I didn't even read. I've since deactivated my Facebook for the time being. Neither Kyle nor Ashley tried to contact me via any social media. Last week, my dad was in town for the first time in almost 2 decades. We had an open, honest conversation in person. I have to admit it was a lot, and I was not good for a few days afterwards, but it was necessary. I learned a lot about my mom and the time between them learning Ashley was pregnant and my return 2 years ago. At this point, I believe that my mom is grieving the loss of a tight family friendship unit that we had when I was younger. She has yet to realize that none of her 5 kids speak or see her. None of her grandchildren see her. None of us speak to her. That in itself would be the end for me. I can't imagine what emotional state she must be in. We all agree that she needs psychological or psychiatric help. My dad actually called her in front of me, and I got the courage to speak to her. The only thing I said to her was, "Mom, for the last while, you have invaded my personal life and my privacy in ways that are inexcusable. I do not know why you think you deserve to know how my life is, but I'm willing to give you a chance. Despite all the pain you have put me through, I want you to seek professional help, whether that be a ward, a therapist, or anything along those lines. If you say anything else other than yes, and only yes, I will permanently cut contact with you." She responded with, "How dare you say that?" And I cut her off, telling her she just missed the only chance she was ever going to get. My dad hung up the phone. He flew back out the day after we caught up, and I am very happy to have a relationship with him that I think I will be working on restoring. He seemed very apologetic for what they did and told me he understands I owe nobody forgiveness. My mother has not contacted me since last week. I think she finally understands I am truly done with her.